37-year-old woman has an ovarian cyst removal in Mexico. 2 weeks later, she enters an American hospital with an acute onset of hemoptysis. What's the best case scenario? Charlie?
Well, the patient, is she Mexican?
Good question, but not germane to the case. Why do you ask?
Well, the reason I ask is because if the patient is Mexican, a greater probability of TB exists. But if she's American, maybe it's pneumonia. I don't know, if she traveled abroad lately, say to South America or Africa?
Charlie, you want to get on with it before the patient buys the farm?
Before we all do? Look, this woman is counting on me to make her better. I don't want to overlook any possibility.
Moving right along. Caitlin, you're on.
Simple. The patient threw a clot.
Good, correct. After pelvic surgery, she apparently developed post-operative thrombophlebitis, which resulted in an infected clot to her lung. I think what everybody's trying to say, Charlie, is that when you hear hoofbeats behind you, don't always expect zebras, expect horses. In other words, when you're making a diagnosis, it's a good idea to start with the obvious, not the exotic.
So, it's a nice girl like you doing in a clay pond like this.
I came to visit a sick friend, but I was early, so I threw some of my English muffin to the fish. My bracelet flew off, and now...
Now you need a salvage crew.
These are dangerous waters.
Danger's my middle name.
You have a first name?
Sam. Down. Well, the only thing standing between me and your bracelet is a school of deadly miniature sharks. Buried treasure.
You risked your life for me, Sam. I'll never forget you.
Oh, hey, look, more buried treasure. Is a found $50 50 times luckier than a found penny or what? Hey! Hey! What's your name?
Okay. Hi, Daniel. I want you to meet someone who just flew in from Chicago.
Federo,
What? Do I know you?
you wouldn't remember. You autographed a copy of your book for me when I was in med school.
Really? Which one? The book, not the med school.
New techniques in myocardial revascularization, and it was Stanford.
Ah, yes. Well, I'm afraid those new techniques are old and infirm now.
It was the definitive book on bypass surgery.
Actually, it was. I'm sorry, I still don't know your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Daniel Kulani.
Oh, Dr. Kalani. My son is on your rotation. Charles Darrow.
Charlie? Of course, I never made the connection.
He never told you?
No.
Well, good for him. This visit is a surprise. We haven't seen each other in years. Do you happen to know where he is now?
He's probably in the cafeteria, otherwise known as the Temple of Doom.
Some things never change.
Oh, Doctor, we've scheduled a seminar this week on the psychological ramifications of bypass surgery. Now, it would be wonderful if you could just join in the discussion.
In a word, Dr. Fishita, no. I'm here to spend quality time with my son. If there's any time left over, I'd really like to cram in some relaxation. But thank you for asking. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to find Charlie.
Just down the hall.
Thank you.
Something, huh?
The Blade. That's what the med students nicknamed her, and I think it still applies. You guys are really a breed apart.
Daniel, remember, a little surgeon and bashing goes a long way, okay?
Brody, you snore. You really do.
She's right. I was trying to sleep in on call last night. You do.
Well, if I snored, I'd admit it. It's no big deal.
Believe me, when you snore, it is.
By denying it, you're avoiding a potentially serious situation. You'd be looking at obstructive sleep apnea syndrome.
Not to mention hypoxemia, and systemic and pulmonary hypertension.
If I were you, Brody, I wouldn't ignore it much longer.
Maybe you need an orthodontic device, something to tether that genial glossus muscle.
Something like this, maybe. What is that, Rube Goldberg device? It's sort of a tabloid. It's an anti-snoring aid. See, it works on the same principle as a bra, but for the chin. I'm beginning to resent this. Hey, don't forget this.
Hi, Charlie boy.
Mother,
I thought I'd surprise you.
you did. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, this is my friend, Kate McGrath.
How do you do?
Hi.
Tony Westford.
How do you do?
Hello. It's my mother.
Faye Darrow.
Oh, please sit down.
Oh, no, thank you. Charlie and I have a lot to talk about.
But Mother wouldn't like a cup of coffee or something?
No, thank you, really. I'd much rather go somewhere where you and I can talk. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
The Faye Darrow, the inventor of the Darrow clamp.
Probably named after that hold she has on Charlie. Did you see the way he changed when she walked up?
I met Dr. Kalani, Charlie boy.
Mother, when are you gonna stop calling me that?
Well, I'm sorry I've called you that since you were tiny. It's just a habit.
Well, I hate it, and it embarrasses me. Please, don't do it again.
I'm sorry, darling. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass you.
Okay. So, you say you met Dr. Kalani?
Yes, I did. Odd name. You're on his rotation? Oh, what's his field?
Internal medicine.
You're joking.
Mother, he's a wonderful teacher and an incredible diagnostician.
Not a surgeon.
Well, as long as you brought it up, I'm thinking. Well, I'm
Charlie, either you have something to say or you don't. If you have, please get to the point.
But I'm seriously thinking about internal medicine as a specialty.
Darrells have always become surgeons, you know that.
Yes, well, but I really don't think that I'm...
Charlie, you have a tendency to overthink. It's something you really need to work on.
It's you. You're here. You told me you'd never forget me, and then you just disappeared. You said you were visiting a sick friend. And the friend is you.
You said your middle name is Danger. Is it?
No, it's George.
Then we're even. I'm just here for some dumb tests, that's all.
Test for what?
It's a lung thing I was born with. It's called primary pulmonary fibrosis. It's nothing. I'll be out here tomorrow. No big deal. Don't worry. It's not contagious.
No, I'm just worried about where I'm going to take you on our first date.
Oh, no. I didn't expect to see you here. What's up?
I'm just visiting an old friend. This is my dad, Dr. Kalani, and this is...
Alyssa Bourdonnais.
How do you do? Don't forget about the car, Pono, okay? See you later. This is Polu. How are you feeling?
Pono.
That's my Hawaiian name. Alyssa Bourdonnais. It's nice. There's a Nina Cherry concert tomorrow night, and I can score 2 prime tickets.
I can't. Sorry.
You can't go out with a guy that waded through a school of deadly miniature sharks for you.
Good morning. Time for your tests. They're waiting on you.
Look, can I call you?
Give me your number. I'll call you.
There are operators standing by, waiting to take your call.
Bye, Pono.
Alyssa.
I would have given my eye teeth to have a mother like Faye Darrow.
You think so, huh?
I know so.
Why's that?
Yeah, because she would have understood me and encouraged me when I said I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, you're right about that. But, you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence.
Charlie, when I was accepted at the University of Pennsylvania, you know what my mother said to me? Congratulations, great place to meet a husband. My first year in medical school, all she said to me was, great place to get a doctor. Last week she called me up and asked me if I met a nice doctor yet. And when I mentioned to her the fact that I am the doctor, all she said was, oh, well, maybe that's your problem. Your mother would never have said that to me, Charlie.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I was just comparing your mother to mine.
Well, don't.
Hey, I'm sorry. Charlie, I said I'm sorry.
Thank you for meeting me, Dr. Kalani. I know I didn't give you very much notice.
You sounded as if you had something serious on your mind.
Yes, I do. It's Charlie. I'm very concerned about him.
Oh, you shouldn't. He's doing very well. Better than that.
Well, that goes without saying. Charlie's very bright. He's always done extremely well. But after I talked to him this afternoon, I realized that he's very miserable.
About what?
Well, about you, I'm afraid.
I'm sorry, you've lost me.
If Charlie has a fault, it's that he simply doesn't look out for his own interests. He doesn't speak up for what he really wants.
Funny, I've never noticed that.
He should really be on surgical rotation. Specifically, Dr. Fushida's. He's wasting his talents the way things are now.
Charlie said that?
Well, he doesn't have to. You know, I can read him like a book. And surgery has always been his choice. That's perfectly natural because his grandfather, my father, was a surgeon. My husband was one. I am.
I agree. Charlie should definitely do a surgical rotation, and Fushida's the best.
Well, frankly, Dr. Kalani, I'm surprised that you agreed so easily. I had expected a few unpleasant moments.
They may be just around the corner. There's no way I'll let Charlie off my rotation now, if that's what you have in mind.
You know that it is.
Well, it's impossible. And after my service, he's scheduled for gynecology, pediatrics, neurology.
He can do all of that later. I want him put on surgical rotation immediately.
You want? Shouldn't this conversation be about what Charlie wants? He has very good diagnostic abilities, and he's wonderful with patients.
I see. This conversation is really about what you want. Well, let me tell you something, Dr. Kalani. Charles Darrow is meant to be up at the front, not skulking around in the background writing medical histories and asking people with sore throats if they happen to have a soft stool.
You have some pretty funny ideas about what we do, Doctor.
I want him transferred to surgery now.
I won't recommend it.
People don't usually refuse me things, Dr. Kalani.
Welcome a new experience, Dr. Darrow. I just did.